Appreciate YouTube. I for T0NY V0GU3. Welcome to YouTube. Big horror or spooky patch. Sort of themes. Tonight we're going to look at 10 terrifying things that humanity. First, drop me a subscribe. That's my B chat. And maybe even hit the link below. Subscribe to my A chat. If you like this video, you can drop a comment or a like. Commenting everything. And be best friends forever. You will be going to you already know what the socials are. V0GU3.
Realities to aliens among us. There are so many things that humanity may not be fully ready to hear about yet. I'm Melissa Melotti, your host, and here are your top 10 terrifying things humanity isn't ready to hear yet. In our number 10 spot, we have alternate realities are real. Over the last couple of years, the internet has been pondering over all of the evidence that is seemingly popping up that shows that parallel universes are real. From the Berenstain Bears phenomena to Chick-fil-A to the torrid traveler, there are many strange coincidences that are hard to ignore. The newest trending evidence, the Macarena dance, is not how everyone remembers it. But besides all of these strange occurrences, scientists of CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, found what they believe to be quite substantial evidence of a parallel universe existing. Apparently, the scientists threw a bunch of particles around at crazy speeds and noticed that the particles disappeared for a moment. During the time that they disappeared, they were able to measure how long the particles disappeared for. From this experiment, it has been assumed that the particles traveled to new dimensions or planes of existence when they disappeared. One of the scientists at CERN was quoted as saying, "The multiverse is no longer a model. It is a consequence of our models." Is the world ready to accept the idea of a multiverse? Perhaps Marvel is preparing us for it. In our number 9 spot, we have TV programs. The fact that TV shows were once literally called TV programs is almost comical. This realization has been gradually shocking the world since 2020 and making people feel that they have been asleep for far too long. But it is something that a lot of people are having a hard time accepting. Of course, TV was originally created to spread news about the wars and propaganda, and it's becoming more common knowledge today that it is still used in this way to promote ideas and specific ways of seeing the world. But of course it is. Everyone wants to feel understood, and we all feel understood when we meet another being that thinks like us. So it makes sense as to why TV is still used in this way. But perhaps the darker side is that it could be used to indoctrinate people and manipulate thoughts. Perhaps that is why the world may not be ready to understand it in this way quite yet. In our number 8 spot, we have everyone is a reflection. What if you were told that everyone and everything placed in your life was a reflection of what you need to know about yourself? Everything you hear, everything you interpret, everything you speak about, everything is a reflection for you to understand yourself better. But also, everything you watch and listen to is also producing what is happening in your inner world and is influencing your perspective on the world. That is a very terrifying concept because the understanding of it can help people see the power that they have over their life, and that can be frightening, especially when so much of what you have watched and heard has had an air of trying to convince you that you are powerless. In our number 7 spot, we have dreams are powerful. There is a reason that scientists are so curious about dreams, why Sigmund Freud spent his life analyzing them, because perhaps they are more powerful than we know. Perhaps our dreams can tell us so much about what we are processing in our subconscious mind that our conscious mind hasn't been aware of. It would be terrifying to have spent your whole life categorizing your dreams as something that just, happens when you sleep, and then one day you're told, well, actually, your dreams are important if you're curious about understanding what may be happening in your subconscious mind. What subconscious belief is preventing you from moving forward in life? In our number 6 spot, we have time travel exists. This one might be extremely hard for a lot to grasp and wrap their brains around if proven to be real. There is definitely tons of reported evidence that points to time travel existing, such as John Titor, the famous internet time traveler, and tons of weird photographs and videos showcasing people clearly from another time inside them. Time traveling would surely be terrifying for some, as the idea of going to another period and making a change that could alter our reality as we know it would be a lot of responsibility. Something that I'm sure some people would selfishly not feel the weight of, and they wouldn't take it seriously. Also, it would mark the dawn of a new age for our justice system, as we could just go back in time and witness crimes and put an end to speculation.
That was a great movie.
In our number 5 spot, we have Cannibals May Live Among Us. There's much evidence throughout history of many cannibals that have walked the earth, so it's not surprising to think that they probably still do live among us today. Not only that, but there is a lot of speculation over celebrities being cannibals, and allegedly not too long ago, the New York Times put out an article romanticizing the idea. There has been much evidence pointing to Madonna, Armie Hammer, Chelsea Clinton, and a whole bunch of celebs that are supposedly cannibals, which is very interesting. There is a club called CannibalClub.org that fact checkers have debunked through many articles, but there is much speculation over this because if this was a real organization, then people would be up in arms about it. So of course we're going to be told that it's fake. Anyways, the idea of many cannibals walking around among us is super hard for me to wrap my brain around, as it's just such a sad thought if it were just fear. The concept of this is very terrifying to a lot of people. Whenever you are in a fearful headspace, you are in your ego brain and not in the present moment. How do you know if you're in an ego headspace? If you're feeling anything but bliss. Bliss is something that is felt when the mind is quiet and no judgments have come to pass. There is no judgment in the present moment, and that is extremely hard for us humans to fully wrap our brains around. It literally makes us feel unsafe to not judge our surroundings because that is what our brain is made to do in order to keep us safe. But when we are in the present moment and just experiencing, we go back into a childlike headspace as if the world is new again, and it's a beautiful place to be. So hopefully humanity will be ready to hear this soon because it is so healing to those that understand this. In our number 3 spot, we have There Are Aliens on This Planet. From the gray people in underground testing facilities to the alleged ships being analyzed in Area 51, the idea of beings from another planet being among us today is super frightening to a lot of people. The reptile people is a group of people that are believed to be among us, and sightings of these people date all the way back to the ancient Mesopotamia times, the Ubaid Man artifact. Then, of course, there is the theory of the shapeshifters, which are even acknowledged in Captain America and the Marvel franchise. But imagine we woke up tomorrow to hear the announcement, "Attention, people of the world, aliens have landed among us." Do you think anyone would believe it? Some might, but I think most would have a hard time even believing it, let alone knowing how to feel and react to it. In our number 2 spot, we have We Don't Know What We Don't Know. We're pretty far from understanding how the universe works. Not to mention that there's a good chance that humans won't ever have the capacity to understand the universe. Perhaps the 90% of our brains that we don't use might, but who knows if we'll ever figure out how to access it. A Reddit user online put it perfectly. A monkey will never be able to understand calculus, macroeconomic theory, or how a car works. It makes sense that we too have an intellectual secret cannot do. You have your own unique footprint on this planet, and you can do what your heart wants to do. You may be someone that has to struggle more to get what you want, but so be it. The greatest stories are great because of the amount of obstacles and struggle a person had to go through to get to where they wanted to go. Sometimes our own greatness can be a terrifying thought. The question is, are you prepared to see how great you are?